Hello, it's me, and we're going to go through the solve strategy that I have on this interesting little hybrid puzzle. It's the Wormhole II, the sequel to the the sequel to the Wormhole I. The difference, of course, being is that it not only has wormhole functions on it, but it also has these 3x3 mix-up pieces on it as well. So in that way, it's a combination of both. And because of that, it has all of the problems that a hybrid puzzle can possibly have. So where you see the 3x3 mix-up portions of it, well, mixes up. And bear in mind that this piece will mix up with this piece. However, in the wormhole versions, they don't mix up. So you get some restrictions with that. So this is going to use much of the strategies that we had with the 3x3 mix-up plus and the Wormhole 1, but there's also some aspects of it that's a lot like the 3x3x4 mix-up plus, in that you once again have the superposition of two different parities. You've got an even layer parity here and an odd layer parity here. So it's like two different kinds of puzzles in one. So too with this, you have two different kinds of puzzles here, and of course the wormhole areas over here too. So obviously it would be helpful, beneficial to know how to solve the 3x3 mix-up plus and the Wormhole 1 puzzle, but it's not exactly necessary. I'm going to go through it much from the beginning. However, it is necessary to understand how to do a beginner's method of a 3x3. So I'm not going to get into in-depth detail of that with the various types of algorithms that have to do with edge rotations and permutations of the last layer and all that good stuff. So you're going to need to know how to do that. The good news is there's only two new algorithms that you're going to need to know to solve this. Just two, aside from beginner's method. One that I rely heavily on is moving this edge down to here. Now there's a beginner's method of how to do that. UR, UI, RI, UI, FI, UF, so that pops that into here. If we wanted to pop it back, the left-handed version from here to here, UI, LI, UL, UF, UI, FI. And here I told you I wasn't going to even show you how to do that. But anyway, there's that. But in the case of bandaging, there's another way of doing it that, again, I rely pretty heavily on. Because in order to do that move, you have to make use of L moves, R moves, F moves, and U moves. But what if I can only do an R move and a U move? Or just an L move and a U move, like what happened with bandage or fuse puzzles. So this alternative will allow you to do that. So let's say I want to take this and move this down to here just using R moves and L moves. So the algorithm that I'll use to do that, and I rely heavily on this when I have to move edges to edges, is going to be R to U, RI, U, R to U, RI, to U, R, UI, RI, and that'll pop that into here. There's a left-handed version of this as well, which is just the opposite of this, and that will look a little something like this. To pop this into here, that's going to be LI to U, L, UI, LI to U, L, to U, LI, U, LI. L rather. I'll have the algorithm, I might have misspoke, but anyway, so that's going to be used a lot. That and what we call the Sunni, and the beginner's method in order to rotate these guys in. You can have the L, the dot, or the line, but the algorithm is the same. F, R, U, R, I, U, I, F, I creates a line here to rotate these. Now, bear in mind, when you're doing this, these two will not rotate, these two will rotate, no matter what configuration it is. F, R, U, R, I, U, I, F, I. So that rotates all these in. And of course the good old Sunni. The Sunni is R, U, R, I, U, R, to U, R, I. And that'll generally rotate these around. We're not going to use it for that purpose. Instead we'll use it for the purposes of, well, yeah, I guess rotating these around. You'll find that you can use the Sunni if you have this configuration where one is rotated up, the others are rotated out. Find the one that's rotated out but facing you, whether it's this one or this one. This is obviously wrong. By facing you, I mean the top color is facing you. And in this case, it's on the left side. You do the left version, LI, UI, L, UI, LI to U, L. and that'll rotate all of them up. There's another algorithm to bear in mind. There's a corner swap, but there's a T-perm version of that where all you have to do is this move, and this move, instead of having to move the down move. So corner swap, if you want to swap these two corners, that's going to be R, U, R, I, U, I, R, I, F, R, R, U, I, R, I, U, I, R, U, R, I, F, I. And that's going to swap these two and bring these in, and then you've got your infamous edge swaps to swap it opposite edge swap, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, then adjacent edge swaps, and then adjacent edge swaps, 2RU, 2RU, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2RU, 2RUI, 2R. One more algorithm actually, and that's something that will take this and will rotate this and rotate this. And that's going to be M, M, or it could be an MI, it doesn't matter how you start it off with, but it's going to be M, U, M, U, M, 2U. Then reverse it, MI, U, MI, U, MI, 2U. And you're going to see that these are just reversed. So get it back, M, U, M, U, M, 2U, MI, U, MI, U, MI, 2U. Okay, so that's another algorithm that you might need. The other algorithm to bear in mind is one that I did that caused edge rotation here. However, it's going to have to vary a little bit because the problem with doing edge rotation on this is that you don't have as many mix-up plus centers to support you, so I had to vary that a little bit in order to get it rotated. So I'm going to get into that later. In terms of this puzzle, so the best way to scramble it is start off by, well, mixing it up. So this and this will mix up if I do a mix-up move and double turn. So I'm just going to do that until I have all of them pretty much separated out, because we want to enhance the challenge as much as possible. And the problem that I run into with tutorials is I might not get the hardest of configurations, or I might not get all the possible dilemmas that might happen. So I try to mess it up in as many scary ways as possible. So I'm going to take all of these out. Nope, that didn't help me much at all. Okay, not too bad. Put this out over here. So I think we've got these mixed up pretty well. We got a couple that are a little too symmetric for my taste, but, and turn. Okay, so not bad. Once we've done that, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and do some mix-up moves here. I don't have a specific way of scrambling it at this point, but you're going to find that pretty soon we're going to start getting ourselves bandaged. So if I go to a mix-up position here and put an edge where a center usually is, or center where an edge usually is, you're going to find that I might be bandaged. And oh, well, not this time, but here. So I can't move this because I've got a wormhole in that position, and that simply won't turn. So very quickly, you may find yourself. Now, another problem with this puzzle that happens, a source of frustration, is that you may accidentally try to push through this and it tends to pop. It doesn't just pop, it spreads out and finds itself in sights unseen. When that happens, you have to. It's easy to put back in, but you don't know if you put in the right configuration. So you don't know if your position of parity is due to an actual parity of the puzzle or because it was how you put it in. And I'll tell you, there is not one solve of this puzzle that I've done that I didn't have that very question. And that's because it has a predilection to pop if you are not careful. So I'm going to keep scrambling this and try to get as many scary scenarios as I possibly can to enhance the confusingness of this mixed up puzzle. Okay, so not bad. Now you may find it might not look quite as scary mixed up as, say, maybe this puzzle, but that's because I tend to become bandaged. So the ultimate first goal is to get this back into cubic position. So the first step with that is we're going to try to get centers into center positions as opposed to edge positions. It doesn't matter which one goes where. We're not trying to put the colors coordinated. Obviously this is supposed to go opposite this, but we're not going to do that yet. We're just going to get every opportunity that we can, just because we want to get much of the bandaging out. So this is in, this is in, this is in. This has to go into some central position. Let's say maybe this central position over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this center where I want this to go and put this into edge position by moving this over like that. Now I have to make sure I can move, and you can see that I can't. I can't because I'm bandaged by this wormhole over here. So let's move it back. Remember which wormhole was blocking us, which is this. I'm just going to put my finger here so I remember. And what I want to do is I want to put a mix-up plus piece in this wormhole position. So bang. So this one is a wormhole plus piece. Now we'll try it again. We'll move it once again with this center into mix-up position. And I can see now I can move this piece and this piece. Once I do that, I'm going to do that edge algorithm to bring this to here. It'll go from edge position to this edge position, which is mixed up, so that will become its central position. So again, Li to U, L U I, Li to U, L to U, Li U, Li. That's now in that position. I simply move it back. So now that's in the central position. So we have another one in there. So you have to take a look and see what you need to do to get that moving in. This obviously doesn't belong here. Let's see if we can't move it into this central position right here. So once again, move this into edge position. And if I try to move it, this wormhole piece is blocking it. So let's move it back. And let's find a mix-up plus piece to put into here. Well, I can carefully move this one in. So now we try it again. Turn, turn. Now will it move? And nope, we're being blocked by this. So just kind of put a finger on it here. Find a mix-up plus piece to put in this wormhole position. Nothing on this side. So how about this? Let's see if we can't coax this one to come in there. Boom. Okay, now we try it again. Okay, this is the central position. Now we see this moves, I think. Yeah, and this moves. Same algorithm. Turn, 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 bang, zoom, splat, and now move it up. Okay, so we've got this, 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 this. We've got all but one. And that's this green position over here. So move it into center, and we can already tell this wormhole position is going to be a problem. Bang. So let's find a mix-up plus piece to put in here. Here's one over here. Boom. Okay, now let's see where we're at. And we can see we can move this and we can move this, but this might be a problem. So if I move this up, this won't move. So I got to move something into this wormhole position as well without taking out this wormhole position. So let's see, here's this. So why don't we move this up, put this in this position here, move this down, bring this in. So now we've got mix-up positions like crazy. Okay, let's get our bearings here. We're looking to put it into here. So now we should be able to move it like this and like this. So L-I, well, I'm just going to do it. Turn and turn, move it in and zoom. So basically all the centers are in center positions. So that's good. The next step that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put everything into all the mix-up pieces into the equatorial position over here. We know that the white is in, at least in my puzzle, has only wormhole pieces. So I want to put all the mix-up pieces at the side here. It's just going to work better that way. So this needs to come up to here, so bring it down, turn, and bring it in. So they're all at the equatorial side. Now another step that you're going to have to do, I'm just going to try to create some pieces that are an issue like that. Pretend like this was scrambled like this. Okay, the next step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take these edge pieces that are twisted, that are turned around like that, and you're going to want to twist them into the proper configuration. And the way that you're going to do that is holding it up here, move it from edge position to center position. And you got to get it out of the way of these centers. So move it to the right, to the center position here, turn it 90 degrees, turn it back to this center position, and turn it up. And now that's turned correctly. Same thing with this. Turn, and back, and up. Okay. You're almost in the home stretch because you're getting it back into the cubic form. So once we have that, what I really want to do now actually is I need to take, I've got the white on top, I need to move the yellow to the bottom because this actually doesn't belong here, this belongs over here. So I basically want to take this and I want to move it into where the green position is. So I'm going to move this here, this piece here, and now I'm going to flip-flop these two. And the way that that's going to work is I'm going to move it up, double turn, move it back. In that way, this yellow is opposite this white, and I simply move it down. So that really wasn't too very difficult, but it's important to get that in that configuration. So what I'm going to do is, notice if I move it like this, these edges are no longer turned wrong. I might have two that'll end up turned wrong, but not six. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start swapping edges with centers here. So I'm going to move this up, move this to the side, and I'm going to bring this edge here in this position. You see that fits pretty well. Now this center is over here, so what I'm going to do now is bring this up over here. This is the yellow and this is the white. I'm not going to move that back. So in that way, I made that turn. What I'm going to do now is continue to do that kind of swapping. So I need to put a center here. So I want to take this and move it to here. So move it here, take this center, move it up, bring this in line, move this down. So I got an edge piece here, so I'm going to move this back into center position, move this down here. So you can see I'm just sort of rearranging the centers a little bit. And what that's going to do is it's going to leave me with just two to deal with. So that's something that you can do. You could skip that step if you want and just move on to the algorithm to place these back in. So here's how that's going to work. You're going to have one down here, and then you're going to have one over here. And this algorithm is going to be a derivation of one that I showed in how to do the 3x3 mix-up plus. And that's going to be, it's going to take this to here, and this to here. As you recall, that was MI, U, M, then a D, MI, UI, M, and a DI. So that did a nice little 3-cycle here. The only problem is that I have to use a lot more pieces than I'd really want. Actually, this is a slightly different 3-cycle. Turn, turn, and turn. And one more should get it back. Turn, turn, and back. Okay, that was a slightly different algorithm, but don't worry about it. I have to do a variation of that. So here's what you need to do. One piece is going to be here. The other one that has to be rotated is going to be here. So we're just going to go ahead and get it in that position. We'll try to do it in the most effective way possible. So I'm going to use this one here. That way I can just move this like so and go splat. Now the other thing that has to happen is you have to have mix-up pieces here, 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 and here. I need a mix-up piece over here, a mix-up plus piece over here. I've got this. I'm simply going to turn this in over here. This is the configuration that you want to make this algorithm work to get these flipped. And the way this algorithm is going to work, it's a very similar offshoot of this guy. You're going to do MI, U, M. Now, I don't have this one to choose from, so I have to use this one. And then I'm going to do 2R, DI, 2R, and then just reverse what I did. That's going to be MI, UI, M, and then reverse it from here to 2R, D, 2R. And what you're going to find is now it's going to have everything rotated. To get it back, well, all I have to do at this point is I have to take this and put it into this position here. This is already going to be set up the way that it needs to be. So I'm going to put this to the side. And, well, I'm going to put this from center position once again to edge position like so. And I'm going rotated in. And the neat thing about this algorithm is it's always going to work. You don't have to do any rearranging. So this will come into this position. So put this into edge position. Just do the algorithm to swing it down here. Turn, 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 turn. And bang, and you will see it's all flipped and all is right with the world. So you don't have to do that step just before that by doing the swapping. If you had a hard time following that, just keep doing this algorithm over and over again with every one that's flipped around. I just chose to do it with the last two, get it down to the last two. But you can do it with 6 of them, with 8 of them, who knows if there's even 8 to do. The next thing is you want to reduce these guys. And the way that's going to work is these are going to flip over here. So this will come to here, which is good. So put it into mix up position, double turn, and this is in. So I'm just looking for every opportunity. Double turn this here. This will exchange with this, which won't do me any good, actually. Let's see. So I'd like to start to swap some of these guys here. Now what you're going to find is if you can't do it, I would love to rotate this so this is down over here so I can flip it. To rotate it, I'm just going to do the beginner's method to put it up here, turn it around, and put it back down here. U-R, U-I-R-I, U-I-F-I, U-F. So now it's up here. Swing it around and do the same thing. Turn and turn. Okay, in that way, this is now in the right configuration. I can move it here. These two will swap, putting the red into here. Splat. Okay, so this is good. Now what else do we have? Well, we can't do anything here. I'd love to turn this around because then I've got 2 complementary pieces here. So let's go ahead and do the same technique with this. See? I was about to pop out and cause horrible chaos. This to go to here. And that was even without mixing it up too. Don't corner cut this puzzle. Okay, so now this turns over here. So these guys will swap. A perfect homology here and splat. Okay, now these guys, same thing. Let's flip this to here. Turn, flip it around, turn, turn, and turn. Okay, double turn this, and now we simply move it in. Bang. Okay, so these are now fully reduced. The next step is let's get the centers in the proper configuration. I held off on that because you're only gonna knock it out anyway. So here's yellow. We'll match this up with a red. And you can see that a green is supposed to be here. So the green is here. We have to flip-flop these guys here. The way that we can do that is to move in mix-up position. That will indeed cause these 2 centers to flip-flop. But these are also going to flip-flop. So if this is a orange, I need to put another orange in here. Or alternatively, another red in here. So to get this orange in, I have to flip this around. So same thing. Good thing about this is so far you have not encountered too much in the way of new algorithms. So these are the same color. I can flip these, move it up, double turn, move it down, and great. So now we take a look back at what we have. Let's move this here. So we've got the white, blue, and now you can see orange is supposed to be here. Well, the orange is all the way over here, so we're going to have to do a double flip. Flip these 2 and then flip these 2. And that's should get us where we want. So I'm going to move 2 greens over here, move it up, double turn, bang. And now these 2 have to flip, blue and blue, so that's perfect. Move it up, double turn, splat. Okay, so good, good, good. Green is opposite blue, red is opposite orange, and we're good. So now we have all of these reduced, we have the centers reduced, and what you have now is simply a Worm 1 puzzle. But not exactly.